Hello, everyone. Welcome to our week two NFL predictions. We are going to get right into it, starting off with the Green Bay Packers at home against the Washington Commanders. The spread is Green Bay by 3.5 points. I am taking the Washington Commanders to cover the spread. Um, I am changing my tune from last week. I really think that Jacory Krosky-Merritt looked very athletic, very speedy, and I am picking the Commanders to show an improvement on offense. I think that having Terry out of training camp, with that contract negotiation, kind of hurt him week one, and I think he'll be improving as the season goes on.
Definitely.
I also think Debo is going to do what he does. I do like that they're using him in varied ways. So I like the Commanders here. I'm riding with the hot hand.
I am going to go with the Packers minus 3.5. Just traditionally, they're very, very tough to beat at Lambeau. Packers are one of those teams where it feels like they have like 12 home games a year. Uh, but nonetheless, they looked, I don't know. I think they looked really good against the Lions. I don't know how much of that was like the Lions being just kind of bad, regressing. But more this is more about me just continuing to fade Washington. I will fade the Commanders until the day I see Jaden Daniels hoisting up to Lombardi. They're frauds. If there's no more Washington doubters, that means I'm dead. It's that's just that's my 10 toes down. I'm all in on that take. So yeah, I'm going with Packers minus 3.5.
Real quick, I have one other reason I'm picking the Commanders is their offensive line actually looked pretty good against the pressure that the Giants were putting up in that week one game, and the Giants obviously, as you said, have a very stacked defensive front, and so do the Lions. So I think that that's a pretty comparable outlook on how that offensive line is going to look. They had a couple upgrades in the offseason, so I really like the pass protection for Daniels, and he's a scrambling quarterback anyway, so he's going to look more mobile than my guy Jared Goff out there.
Fair.
Speaking of Jared Goff, you want to move to Detroit and Chicago?
Yep.
All right.
Let's do it.
I I am picking. Oh yeah, sorry. Detroit is traveling to the Soldier Field to take on the Bears. Detroit is actually favored by 5.5 points here. Quite surprising, honestly, because considering that I thought that the Bears looked quite competent against the Vikings last Monday. So with all that said, though, I am picking Detroit. I like them in a bounce back spot here. I think this is going to be a get right game for them. Unfortunately for the Chicago Bears, um, although this may be a Ben Johnson revenge game, but I don't know what he's getting revenge on the Lions for giving him a chance and getting him a head coaching job off of how good he looked as an offensive coordinator there. So I think this is the bounce back spot for the Lions.
Yeah, I'm picking the Bears to bounce back. I'm taking the Bears at plus 5.5. I'm also going to take them as my underdog pick. I'm going to take them to win this game outright. Ben Johnson's first win of his tenure as the Bears coach, first of many. He will be the Bears coach for 20 years, meaning at a minimum 4 Super Bowls.
In the
Um,
first 4 years.
yeah, yeah. Just in the first 4 years, yeah. Um, I don't know. I didn't think Detroit looked very good against Green Bay. I know we just talked about this. They couldn't run the ball to save their life, and that was with the Packers, without Kenny Clark up front. And I don't know. I just there's I think it's going to take the Lions a while to really readjust without their two excellent coordinators and get back to a place where they're a well-oiled machine. Um, so I am going to take I don't know. I'm going to take the Bears. I'm going to take them to win. I don't know about Detroit. Like honestly, I thought they looked like a 5 or 6 win team against the Packers. Like they just had like no juice whatsoever. And like even that final score of 27-13, that was not
Yeah, that
game
was
wasn't even
the
that close.
Isaac Tesla um, garbage time TD.
Right. That crazy touchdown. Yeah. So I'm going to take, I don't, again, yeah, not a revenge game, but Ben Johnson's statement win. This is, you know, the student beating the master.
I can definitely see that. Obviously Ben Johnson, he had the sauce in week one with the Bears, even though they lost. And I thought honestly he got a little too into his bag with an offense that's not used to his, play calls and stuff like that. Because we did see DJ Moore when he ran when they did the jet sweep and the ball got like snapped into his leg and went out of bounds. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. That was bad.
I do
Dude,
think that
they were giving DJ Moore like actual running back carries like from the backfield, like
yeah.
in like between the tackles carries, which I thought was wild.
Yeah, they're giving him the Debo treatment, dude. That means he's out of there in 2 years. He's going to be traded to the Washington Commanders. Um, you want to move to Jacksonville and Cincy?
Yep,
All
let's
right,
do
yeah.
it.
So Jacksonville's traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The Bengals are favored by 3.5 points here. I am going with the Jacksonville Jaguars to win as my underdog pick of the week. Um, really liked how they looked under Liam Cohen, and I wanted to say um, last week, in the predictions video, or sorry, in the reactions video for week one, that one interception that was on Trevor Lawrence, that was actually just heck of a play by J.C. Horn. I don't think that was a dumb throw by Trev. I really think if J.C. Horn didn't make a huge play there, that would be a large play to Travis Hunter. Um, but I really liked how the offense looked with Liam Cohen. I think it's going to look better. Um, Obviously, BTJ, that Trevor missed him a lot just throwing to him. So I think that's going to improve. That connection was there last year. Obviously, there was a lot of connections with Mac Jones when Trevor got hurt by Aziz Al Shair last year. But I, I
Hmm.
I really just like how ETN looks. I think they're confident in Bashal Tutin being the RB2 there. They traded away Tanks Bigsby. Bashal Tutin is, I think, ran a 4.32, if I'm not mistaken. He's got very, very great top level speed. Um, he's gonna be their speedster guy and more of the bruising type of running back as well. He's a bit larger. So all that said, going with the Jags to win outright by that 3.5 point margin or beating that 3.5 point spread.
Fair. Yeah. Okay, I am actually gonna pick the. I'm gonna take the Bengals minus 3.5 at home. I don't. Is Jacksonville your underdog pick too?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. I don't want to get too carried away with the whole Travis Etienne because if you go back to last season and look, uh, the team that allowed the most rushing yards by by a lot was Carolina. Carolina allowed 3,057 rushing yards last season, which, if you divide 3,057 divided by 17, that's 180 rushing yards a game, which is crazy. 5.2 yards per carry.
Yeah.
The next worst run defense in the league last year, like the second worst after the Panthers, was the Saints at 2,404. So the Saints gave up 600 fewer rushing yards than the Panthers did, which comes out to 140 yards a game. So that's an extra
Wow.
40 yards a game rushing. So like the Carolina run defense last year was historically horrible, like historically awful, like beyond terrible. Like you look at 2023, the worst run defense was Arizona at 24-34. You look at 2022, the worst run defense was Texans at 2900. Nobody has ever let up 3,000 rushing yards in a season. And, I know it's a 17 game season, but you look back at 2021, Steelers had the worst, 2483 allowed. 3,000 is crazy awful. So I don't want to like overreact to that Travis Etienne game. Um, I think, the Bengals were a mess last week, still won. The Jaguars surpassed expectations and looked great with the Panthers. I think the Panthers are horrible, and I think the Bengals will bounce back in a positive direction. Because I think the Bengals always struggle with the Browns. Plus, it's a division game, and the Browns defense was basically healthy. And when the Browns defense is healthy, it's a really good defense. I think overall people are overvaluing the Jags and undervaluing Cincy. So I will take Cincy with 3.5 at home.
Really quick before we move on, I do want to say about Cincy's defense, though, is that, it's known to be porous. And we did see Dylan Sampson
Oh yeah,
lead the team, the Browns, in receiving yards. And ETN is actually known as, a pass catching back. So I think he might even turn a better performance in terms of receiving volume um, against the Bengals.
fair,
But
fair enough.
you want to move to Dallas and New York?
Let's do it.
All right, New York Giants are traveling to Jerry's World to take on the Cowboys. The Cowboys are favored by 5.5 points here, and I am taking the Cowboys to cover this spread. I really liked how their offense looked, and I really liked how their defense looked against the Eagles, who are the reigning Super Bowl defending champs. So, with all that said, I think Dak is going to be able to, complete throws to whomever he needs to. Whoever, sorry, I'm not that fancy. Really, I just think that, you got George Pickens, you have CD Lamb, Jake Ferguson. Uh, I don't think that the Giants are going to be able to get a pass rush quick enough to get to Dak, especially against their improved offensive line. That looked very good against the Eagles' defensive front last week. Um, yeah, I'm just really, really favoring that. Plus, how good the Giants defense, or sorry, not the Giants defense, the Dallas defense looked. They were able to clamp up both AJ Brown and Devonta Smith for 99% of the game. Obviously, AJ got a catch right at the last drive, but I really think that the Dallas team is very underrated. And if they are indeed starting Mr. Unlimited, or as we call him in this household, Mr. Limited, um, I think that it should be a pretty easy win. I think they should cover this 5.5 points fairly easily.
Okay, well, I mean, I have the same pick. I have Cowboys minus 5.5. I don't know if it's easily, but I mean, I don't know. Vegas doesn't give out free money. I feel like this is 5.5 is big for a division rivalry game like this, and I would kind of be inclined to take the Giants here. But I don't know. I just can't with Russell Wilson. He's just not good, and he's washed. He's cooked. He's done.
Dust.
And I, yeah, I just can't. I can't do it. He's dust. He's ash.
Dustin
And
Wilson.
I don't know. Maybe the Cowboys are being. Yeah, he's Dustin Wilson. Maybe the Cowboys are being a bit overinflated due to how good they looked against the Eagles defense without Jalen Carter. I don't know. To me, it's all about Russell Wilson. Maybe that Giants pass rush will keep it close, possibly. I don't know. I I don't know. Maybe, and here's the thing. Maybe this line is kind of from devil's advocate. Maybe the line is being inflated a bit because Washington did just beat the Giants by 15 points. So maybe like the average Joe is like, oh well, they're just going to get blown out again. Of course, I don't
Yeah,
know. I still I'm taking the Cowboys. I'm still taking the Cowboys. I just can't bet on Russell Wilson.
I'm with you. Let's move to the Rams traveling to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Rams are favored on the road here, 5.5 points. It's a pretty big spread, but it is kind of backed by the defensive showing that we saw by the Rams in week one against the Texans. However, that was against a very porous offensive line. Obviously, Houston pretended like they upgraded their offensive line in the offseason, and they actually just didn't do anything and probably made it worse. Um, with all that said, I am taking the Rams here. I really liked how Puka looked week one. I think the upgrade from washed Cooper Cup to less washed 32-year-old Devontae Adams um, is needs to be stated. He didn't really have a huge week, but he didn't play bad. Just didn't really put up numbers on the box score. Other than that, I mean, I really liked how the Rams defense looked, and I think Tennessee got another. You got a rookie QB still learning the NFL. I will say a lot of the mistakes made were not on him in that Denver game, so I don't think he's going to look like an amateur out there. But I am just favoring the Rams to get this done. I think they have a high-powered offense and a very good, sneaky good defense.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think, or actually, I'm not with you, but I agree with a lot of what you said. I'm taking Titans plus 5.5. I just think, I agree with a lot of what you said. The Rams have really good defense. I think, 5.5 is a lot to cover on the road. The Titans looked better than expected last week against Denver. Cam Ward did not look like rattled or anything like that. The Rams do have a really good defense, of course, but traveling from the West Coast for an early kickoff, not something that's super easy to do. I think the Titans have a better than expected defense, and yeah, I'm not like I always say, I'm not picking this underdog to win. I'm just picking them to keep it close at home.
Yeah, I don't hate the 5.5 point spread there for the Titans. I really think that um, Cam Ward is going to have a breakout game. He should have honestly had one last week. It may be this week against the Rams, but I just really betting on the Rams to shore up defensively against a rookie and give him some problems. We can move to another
Fair.
divisional game here. This is New England traveling to Miami, taking on the Dolphins. The Dolphins are surprisingly favored at home here, 1.5 points. So, I mean, we saw what they looked like. They looked terrible week one. Was that just a result of them being in utter shock of Mr. Indiana Jones going out there and dominating and looking like prime Peyton Manning? We're not sure. But all that being said, I am taking New England to cover this spread, this 1.5 point spread, and just win. They are not my underdog pick though. But I really liked how Drake May looked week one. We've got Kayshawn Booty, wide receiver one season. I think he's going to continue to be an asset for them. Diggs, a little bit quiet. I don't think he looked terrible, but obviously he is coming back from that injury from last year. Uh, I
He's
really
dust.
just I think that we're going to see more Travion Henderson. I thought he looked good in receiving wise with the ball. He's going to make explosive plays. And bottom line, this is a broken team. And until we can see that the Dolphins are not broken, I'm not going to pick them to win a football game or cover any sort of spread.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with you on the Patriots plus 1.5. I I don't get it. I don't get why the Dolphins are favored, which makes me want to take them. Because again, Vegas doesn't give out free money. Uh, so it does give me some hesitation to take the Patriots, but it's not based on anything that we saw with the Dolphins either. Like they looked horrible. They looked just absolutely awful. And even though I think Stephon Diggs is dust, he's almost 32 years old. He's like dating Cardi B. I mean, he's dust.
Yeah.
Um, I just the
No.
Dolphins are ass cheeks, and I can't pick them. Like Indy isn't even some elite team. The Dolphins are just possibly the worst team in the league. They're just soft. They're just soft, soft, baby soft. I'm picking this line. I'm picking this Patriots line entirely because of Mike Vrabel. He's going to bully Mike McDaniel for 60 minutes. Actually, more like 3 hours because that's how long an actual football game takes. But I'm just picking Mike Vrabel over Mike McDaniel. That's all this is.
Yeah. Until they trade away Tyreek or until they, get their, I don't even know, offensive line problem sorted. I like I said, I will not pick the Miami Dolphins to win a football game.
Yeah, they do need to trade away Tyreek Hill, though. I just feel like that's, you know, like they can just kind of like rally as a team a little bit and be like, all right, we got the selfish guy out of our locker room. Can move on.
Yeah, then they
Send
can.
him to the Chiefs. Send him back to
He needs to
Kansas
go to
City.
the New Orleans Saints. Just put him on the Saints.
Dude, he's also like, I don't even think he's gonna play. Well, he's being investigated for domestic violence.
Yeah, I did see that. He might be cooked. Maybe that was what he was getting upset on the sidelines about. He was
Tyreek Hill's ex alleges multiple incidents of domestic violence. Like, yeah, dude,
not a good look.
it's a court, it's a court filing. I mean, yeah, no, he's probably gonna play, but I don't know, dude. Kita Vaccaro.
Yeah,
Is
not.
that Kenny Vaccaro's sister?
Hmm. I'm not sure. But you want to move to the San Fran game?
Yes.
Okay. San Fran taking on the New Orleans Saints. San Fran is favored by 4.5 points. I'm pretty sure we might see Mac Jones in this game, as he has a toe injury and a shoulder injury that he sustained against the Seahawks week 1, which I don't know if that's actually going to be a bad thing, because I feel like sometimes the 49ers kind of look good with a game manager in at quarterback. Basically because this is a common thing with Purdy. He's just doing what the coach is telling him to do, and that is like Mac Jones' big thing. So if we do see Mac Jones, it will make me maybe hesitate on my pick, but I'm just plainly going to go pick the better football team here. And I'm picking the 49ers to cover this 4.5 point spread. I think no matter getting rid of, changing who's in at quarterback, you have Christian McCaffrey on your team. You have Ricky Pearsall, and Ricky Pearsall was shown to make some great plays against a very good secondary that the Seahawks have. So I'm going with the 49ers. I think they're going to lean heavily on McCaffrey and some passes over the top to Ricky Pearsall and everybody's new favorite tight end, Jake Tonjes. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about the Niners. The on the Saints side, I mean, yes, Kellen Moore is running the Big 12 offense now, but at the end of the day, I don't trust an offense led by Spencer Rattler. Let's not forget this dude was the Heisman favorite and then got basically fraud checked and replaced by Caleb Williams against Texas. So
Hmm.
I'm not a big fan of Spencer Rattlers, and I haven't really liked the tape he's been putting up in the NFL. Uh, but yeah, that's all I got to say. I'm not really big on trusting Spencer Rattler to win me a football game.
Yeah, can't really dispute what you're saying here. But yeah, I had this pick in as New Orleans plus 4.5. That was before I knew that Brock Purdy would be out, which usually in theory would like change. Like it should make me go from San Fran to New Orleans. But for some reason, I want to switch my pick from New Orleans to San Fran, even with the 4.5. I I don't know. I feel like with a better team, like a better roster, you know, the Niners, I almost feel like you might get I thought like if the Niners were healthy, this could have been like a letdown game. Like they could kind of sleepwalk through this game. Um, and maybe kind of get snuck up on a little bit. But right now I'm almost feeling like that makes it less likely because I don't know, the Niners could rally and make it like we gotta all step up for Mac Jones, and so I'm gonna actually switch my pick to San Fran minus 4.5.
Okay.
Uh, so I will go with you on that one.
It's like the reverse. It's like a opposite trap game because the Niners have actually lost two big players on offense. So they're
Yeah, yeah,
now the
yeah.
trap. It's now they're the trap team.
There,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think there's a rallying effect that takes place at least with good teams, like with good organizational, like when you have a good culture for your team,
Yeah.
and guys are like, all right, we all got to step up. We got to step up and keep the team afloat until we get our guys back. That said, it's already happening. The 49ers just
The injury bug.
the injury bug. They are the most injury plagued team in the league. It's like they either get injured and win 6 games, or they go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they're basically like a
Like,
Ferrari that needs a ton of maintenance and can't have a
mm-hmm.
lot of issues. And if it doesn't have any issues, it's one of the best looking things. It's super fast, super explosive. But if it breaks down, it's worth crap. I'm with you on that one. You want to
Yeah,
move on
I
to
mean they've been like that since. Yeah, they've been like that for like gosh, 6, 7 years.
6 years?
But
Yeah.
yeah, let's go ahead.
So moving on
Yeah,
to
let's move on.
Buffalo traveling to the Meadowlands, take on the Jets. Buffalo's favored by 6.5 points here. I'm really, really tempted to take the Jets, especially how good they looked. Week one, they looked great. But for me, it's when I see this touchdown line, especially knowing that the Bills won a super impressive win against the Ravens, come from behind, down 15 points in the fourth quarter. I am going with the Buffalo Bills to cover the 6.5 point spread. There's not really much I can say about the Bills other than they have Josh Allen on their football team, and they also have a ascending Keon Coleman who's looking great this year. So I have nothing but props to say about the Jets. I thought the Jets looked awesome. I love Justin Fields, love the connection he had with Garrett Wilson. Brees Hall did not look like dust. Brees Hall looked great actually. Their offensive line looked very good. But I just am picking the Bills to just win this game. I think they'll win it by just a touchdown. I think it may be hotly contested through the first three quarters, and I think at some point the Bills will pull away with it. And just put the game on ice, maybe go up a touchdown and maybe 10 points or something and win this game fairly comfortably. But at one point, this game will be pretty close.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually going to take the Jets plus 6.5. Not sure if they're going to win, but I think it'll be close. I think the Bills. There's a risk that the Bills have an emotional letdown after that game against Baltimore.
Yeah.
Um, just one of the craziest regular season games that any of us have ever seen. I mean, you got to think about that Ravens Browns game from the COVID season. That the
The
Monday
Lamar
night
bathroom break.
Rams Chiefs game. Yeah, the Lamar bathroom break. Then you got the Rams Chiefs infamous 2018 game.
Oh yeah.
I honestly that one's up there. That's
Yeah.
going to be up there with that. I just think the Bills will kind of have an emotional letdown after that thriller. Um, I think the Jets should have beaten Pittsburgh last week. I think the Jets. They're a good team. I'm actually pretty bullish on them. I'm not sold on the Bills' defense really. They struggled a lot with Lamar's rushing ability. Fields presents similar problems. He does have that rushing ability. Brees Hall obviously is not Derrick Henry, but the Jets are a running team. They can run the ball. They showed that against Pittsburgh. And so I just think overall the Jets offense presents similar problems to what the Ravens presented. And again, it looked like Baltimore for most of that game was playing with 10 guys on defense. So I don't know if the Jets win. I think it's close. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that game.
Okay, we can move on to Seattle traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh is favored by 2.5 points here. And I'm going to be honest. I think that the San Francisco 49ers have a better defense than the Steelers do. And I'm probably going to be murdered by every single Steelers fan who disagrees with me. But with all that said, I really just think JSN looked awesome against the 49ers defense. And I think JSN is going to look even more awesome this week. I think Zach Charbonnet looked good last week. He's going to continue to look good. Kenneth Walker, who was drafted by the last regime, they don't really have a lot of loyalty to him. So I think they're going to go with whoever they think the more talented running back is. And in my opinion, Kenneth Walker is talented, but he just has a different skill set, and it's hard for him to stay on the field. So I think Charbonnet is going to move into the lead back role as he's already basically done that so far, but continue to solidify his role, I should say. Um, yeah, with all that said, I really just think that the Seahawks are a better football team here, and I'm picking them to cover this 2.5 point spread.
Okay, I have actually really gone back and forth on this one quite a lot. The line tells you that Seattle's a better team since home field is typically 3 to 3.5 points. Seattle's flying cross country over 3 time zones, and they're only 2.5 point dogs. I don't really believe in Pittsburgh this year, but I will, or really any other year. But I want to lean towards Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers over Mike McDonald and Sam Darnold. Also looking at the DK Metcalf revenge factor as well. Um, I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think it's going to be a field goal kind of game, like a 2017, maybe even like a 1917 kind of game,
Yeah.
17-14 even. I don't know. I keep going back and forth on this one. Normally when in doubt, I try to kind of fade what I think the public is going to do. But I really what is the average Joe thinking about this game? Like, is the average Joe thinking
Rodgers looked good.
Pittsburgh's an easy 2.5?
They think Rodgers is unwashed
Yeah.
Rodgers and he's
All
going
right.
to
I'm
throw for
going.
five touchdowns.
I'm switching my pick. I'm going
Oh,
Seattle plus 2.5.
oh snap! Dang, we're
I'm
in
going with you
lockstep
on
for a
that
lot
one.
of these picks. Looking at we're picking a lot of the same teams.
Yeah, some of them we are. Dallas, New England, San Fran, and now this one. So 4. Four of the nine so far,
Okay,
which
yeah.
is more than we normally are.
We can go on
But
to
I think that'll end.
yeah. Well, I'm picking
Go ahead.
Cleveland traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Baltimore is favored by 11.5 points here. This is
Hmm.
bordering college football spread. And I'm sorry if you thought that the Browns looked
Yeah.
that bad week one that they deserve an 11.5 point spread. I'm picking the Browns to cover this. I know I just said give up in the last video. We were talking about Browns fans. Um, I'm not giving up. I was lying. Uh, I'm really looking at I'm really just looking at they shut down Chase Brown. Chase Brown's got 99th percentile speed. He's very fast. He can break through contact, and they shut Chase Brown down for the most part. He had a couple of runs, but other than that, he wasn't able to get a lot done. This is a team that knows how to play against Lamar, and they're going to show it. I think they're going to come out there, play this team tough. I was very, very tempted to make this my underdog pick of the week. Let's not forget Jameis beat the Ravens last year. Um,
Hmm.
with all that being said, I really just I think they're gonna play him closed. I loved how Harold Fannin looked. I love how Dylan Sampson looked. Judy is obviously a very great underrated wide receiver. Cedric Tillman, underrated wide receiver. Big fan of the Browns offense this week. I think that there's going to be a little self-defeating mindset that the Ravens are going to have. They're like, well, we scored 40 points and we couldn't even beat a team. We couldn't even beat the Bills. So they're going to be a little frazzled coming in this week, and I think it's going to have a sort of maybe they're going to be overlooking the 0-1 Browns, and yeah, I'm picking the Browns to cover this huge spread.
I could see it if it was like a non-conf or a non-divisional opponent, but I just think it's very hard to overlook a division opponent. I just, I get it, but I feel like in the NFL, most teams are especially the Ravens are never really overlooking a divisional opponent. Um, I think, yeah, I think I'm just going in the opposite direction here. Like 11 and a half is so much, and it's so disrespectful to the Browns. But I'm thinking, I don't think Baltimore is going to spiral. I think it's going to just be like kind of an anger factor over like, choking that game away. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna take Baltimore. It feels wrong. I'm gonna take them to cover the 11 and a half. It feels wrong, but it's such a big line that it's like, again, Vegas doesn't give away free money.
Very true.
So I'll stick with the Ravens.
All right, we can move on to a big important matchup here. This is Denver traveling to Indy, take on the Colts. Denver's favored 1.5 points on the road here. And I'm just gonna say it. I should have trusted you week one, Daniel Jones. I am a big Daniel Jones truther. Now we call him Indy Anna Jones. He's not Daniel Dimes anymore. He is now Indiana Jones. And I'm picking him to have a statement win against a top ranked defense. I really liked how Jonathan Taylor looked. He finally kind of looked like how we thought he looked before Anthony Richardson got there. I liked how Alec Pierce looked, and I liked how Michael Pittman Jr. looked. Um, I think, I'm not 100% sure. I think they, no, wait. Is Josh Jones still injured? I thought I saw he might be playing. I might just be wrong on that. Um,
Uh, I don't see. I don't know.
but anyway, I really just think that they played very tough with um with the Tennessee Titans, and that was a rookie quarterback. This is Daniel Jones, and we saw when Daniel Jones has time to throw, when he's got a clean pocket, he's actually able to sit there, make decisions, and read defenses fairly well. Obviously, that was the Miami Dolphins. So we are really going to see if the Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones comeback is a fluke, and I'm betting on it not being a fluke. So I am
Mhm.
taking the Indianapolis Colts to win this game. It's a 1.5 point spread. That's why I didn't pick them as my underdog of the week. But if I could have like a flag plant game, it would be this game. And I love the Broncos. Don't get me wrong. I love Sean Payton. I love the Broncos. Love Bo Nix. But I'm going with the Colts to uh, have an upset here at home.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take Denver minus 1.5 in this game. It's only, it seems like a cross country flight. It's really only one time zone for Denver, Mountain to Central time. Or no,
Yeah,
actually,
they're in Eastern
sorry,
time.
this is two time zones. This is two time zones. Okay. Well, I'm still taking Denver. Um, I think people might be just too low on Denver after struggling with Tennessee. I think Tennessee actually might be pretty decent, and I think people might be a little too high on Indy after just mollywopping the Dolphins because I just think the Dolphins they're terrible.
Dust. They're the
And
dust fins.
yeah, I think I look, I I'm with you. I'm bullish on Daniel Jones overall long term in Indianapolis, but I just think the Denver defense is a totally different animal than Miami's defense. So I think Daniel Jones comes down to earth a bit this week against a much better defense, and kind of a reality check for the Colts, maybe. So I will take Denver to cover the 1.5 here.
Okay, let's move on to Carolina taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are favored at home by 6.5 points. And I wrote down that I was picking Arizona here, and I can't in good conscience pick them now. I don't know why, but I'm just remembering last year every single time I picked them to win a game that seemed like a gimme, they lose it. And yeah, I'm switching my pick. I'm actually just picking Carolina to cover this. Maybe even possibly win, but play them very close. I think we saw a little bit of issues with Bryce Young missing his number one, his safety valve, which was Adam Thielen, who's now back on the Vikings. I think that was actually a bigger loss than a lot of people thought for the offense because Adam Thielen did play a pretty big role in that offense coming back in the latter half of the year after the bye week. So he's had to establish.
Hunter Renfro did.
Yeah, well, Renfro kind of looked like a Hunter Dustfro out there, and I'm a big fan of his. But I will just say we we haven't seen him fully establish that chemistry with Tedderog McMillan. This might be the game. He might go out there and expose Will Johnson and cook him for a large Mike Evans esque touchdown catch or something like that. That obviously T Mac is, in my opinion, the pro comp is Big Mike Evans. So I'm just going with I'm changing my pick here. I'm going with the Carolina Panthers to win this game. I thought Marvin Harrison Jr. looked great, and I think Marvin Harrison Jr. will continue to be better. But I think if anything, the Panthers are going to play them very close, and maybe the Cardinals are only going to win by a field goal. But yeah, I'm not picking the Cardinals to cover this 6.5 point spread. That is a touchdown. So basically, I should say.
Okay. Yeah. So you're changing the pickup here, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I originally chose Arizona, and I think I'm gonna stick with uh Arizona still minus 6.5 versus the Panthers. So you got a cross country trip for the Panthers here. Overall, though, I think they just suck. They're terrible. I was surprised. I thought we were going to see some improvements. I really did. Thought they had some momentum building at the end of last year. I thought Bryce Young had, really gained a lot of confidence and kind of figured some things out. And it looked like they just lost all progress last year. It looked like they went right back to being the 2023 Panthers, and they weren't even competitive with the Jaguars. So the way I see this is the Cardinals held a better Saints offense to 13 points in New Orleans, and you could maybe debate whether or not the Cardinals or the Saints is a better offense than the Panthers. I just think Kamara, Olave, Juwan Johnson, Rashid Shaheed. I think they might be a little bit better, probably close if anything. But you know, I was in New Orleans. Cardinals held them to 13 points. I don't really see how Carolina goes across the country in Arizona's building and scores more than 13 points. And I think Carolina's got a worse defense than New Orleans. So I just don't see how Carolina moves the ball in this game, and I don't really see them slowing down Arizona enough to be competitive. Really, I just so I'm going to take the 6.5. I'm just very disappointed in what I saw out of the Panthers last week.
Before we move on, I will just put up a hypothetical. There is a very, very good chance that the Carolina Panthers haven't really regressed and they just played against the Jags, who are actually sneaky very good this year. And we're going to see if the Jags are actually sneakily very good when they play against the Bengals, who are a good team, at least a good offense. So if they're able to match offensive
Mm.
firepower against the Bengals this week 2 game, maybe that will sort of vindicate the Carolina Panthers looking the way they did against the Jags week 1. And I do really think
No,
that
that's
the loss of Adam Thielen is actually like I said, I think it's a very big loss that people aren't really kind of taking into account when they're talking about this offense. Like Xavier Legette, obviously he was with the team last year, was a rookie last year. He's a 24-year-old, I think he's 25 now, developmental like prospect wide receiver, which not great. He only looked good when he was playing against younger guys, when he was 20, 23, 24 in college. Like, so I I wasn't very big
voice
on him.
merchant.
Yeah, he's basically a age. He was just bullying them, size merchant, exactly. Um,
No,
so
I said voice merchant,
oh boy, yeah, accent merchant. He's he
accent
lied his
merchant.
way in. So I
They
think
just
Tet,
he's just on the team because he's funny.
yeah, because he's got a cool accent. I really think
Yeah.
that Tet is going to have a breakout game, and I don't see any reason why it's not going to be this week. Um, and that is my main reason for that. Me believing this game will be close. I think Tet's going to keep it close. We all know Kyler Murray. He's like the king of self-inflicted wounds on offense. He fumbles the ball, gets strip sacked, hangs onto the ball too long, gets the ball knocked out. I can see that happening against the Panthers, who don't even have that great of a defense in terms of defensive front. They are pretty decent at cornerback. They have J.C. Horn, obviously, who's a very underrated corner. Um, but yeah, other than that, I think we can move on to the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. The
Yep.
Chiefs favored by 1.5 points here. And I'm taking Philly. I am fully preying on the Kansas City Chiefs downfall. I'm sorry to all Chiefs fans who are watching the video, if there are any. But Chiefs are kind of looking like dust. They're going against a great defense. They're going against a great offense. Uh, Obviously, Kansas City did not look great on offense against the Chargers. I think the Chargers might be a great team as well. Um, but doesn't change the fact they're going against a team that destroyed them in the Super Bowl, beat the snot out of them, and this team is looking basically the same as they did last year. And I think that in terms of matchup wise, maybe the Eagles are going to throw it a bit more, as that's how Jalen Hurts was really able to beat the Chiefs, was with his arm in the Super Bowl. And I'm just going with Philadelphia. I think the Eagles look dominant. I wouldn't say dominant week 1 because I did give a lot of props to the Cowboys, but they looked like the same team they did last year. They Saquon Barkley is Saquon Barkley. As long barring injury, he's going to be great. And yeah, that's all I have to really say about the Eagles. Chiefs wise, I mean, come on. What do they have? 92-year-old Travis Kelsey, 45-year-old Hollywood Brown, 62-year-old Juju Smith-Schuster. They got the retirement home out there. Uh, um, yeah, so I'm really just picking the Eagles here.
Yeah, I want to. I really want to. Every bone in my body is wanting me to just take the Eagles to hammer the Chiefs. I mean, because it's very obvious. Like, think about the last time they played in the Super Bowl. They beat them by 40 points. When both teams are actually competing. But we always say Vegas doesn't hand out free money. There's a reason this line is where it is. Obviously, Vegas thinks the Chiefs are not a better team because they're only favored by 1.5 at home. Um, I don't know. It just feels like the biggest trap line of the week. Like every average Joe is going to just like hammer the Eagles, the Chiefs. I don't know. I just don't. Unless the Chiefs are different and they've fallen off. It's hard for me to see them starting 0-2.
Mahomes
Um,
washed. He's washed.
if they do start 0-2, then you can hit the panic button on the season for sure. But I don't know. I don't know. I also think the Chiefs, they didn't look very good in week one. Basically, Vegas is telling you that was just because this is in Brazil. The game was in Brazil rather than any sort of uh, you know long term, like the Chiefs are just worse now. Like I think that's kind of what's being telegraphed with this line, but um, it does give me some pause. You know, just maybe Vegas has not caught on to the fact that the Chiefs are washed, and maybe they are, maybe they aren't. This line is telling you that Vegas thinks that they are not, that they will bounce back. And really, uh, kind of get right here. So I am gonna take that line, that 1.5 Kansas City line. I don't love it. I hate it. But yeah, that's my pick.
All right, we can move on to the Sunday night game. This is Atlanta traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Vikings are favored by 4.5 points. I am taking Minnesota. Uh, I liked how their defense looked against a very good. Note that I'm giving the Bears props here. Very good Ben Johnson led offense. Um, really, I seriously liked how DeAndre Swift looked. He was actually, breaking tackles and not shying away from contact. I liked how Romo Dunze looked. I thought the chemistry between him and I don't know why I'm talking about a lot about the Bears, but really just in my mind, I really just think that the Vikings are a great offense. They have the one of the best offensive minded coaches. They have one of the best defensive minded coaches, as I said last week. And Atlanta, very big fan of Drake London. I know Drake London is day to day with that shoulder injury he picked up right at the end of the Tampa Bay game last week. So he may be a little dinged up heading into this week. But I mean, the Bucks were able to completely shut down Bijan Robinson in the run game. He was averaging 2 yards a carry, and I pretty much rate the Minnesota defensive front about as well as I rate the Tampa Bay defensive front. Maybe a little worse because they lost. I think they lost a few pieces in the offseason. But this is Brian Flores we're talking about, and obviously they have Justin
Mhm.
Jefferson on offense, Jordan Mason. So I'm gonna go with the Vikings to get this one done and cover the spread here.
Okay, this was for me probably the toughest one to pick. Um, you know, I just don't have a good read on this game at all. I really I don't know. I have no clue. The Vikings pretty much looked like shit for 3 quarters against the Bears. Magically came to life in the fourth quarter. Looked like a completely different team. Um, I don't know how sold I am on Minnesota. I think the Bears kind of beat themselves in that game to a large degree, but Atlanta, Atlanta played Tampa really tough. I think Tampa may be probably a really, really strong team. Could very well be the best or one of the best teams in the NFC. Um, and I think the fact that Atlanta played Tampa so tough, I think that says really good things about the Falcons. So I'm going to take Falcons plus 4.5 because I don't know. I'm just fading what I think the average Joe would do. I think the average Joe sees Minnesota as a really good team, and I think they see Atlanta as a mediocre team. So the average Joe will bet on the Vikings to cover the 4.5. So I'm just going to fade that. Bottom line,
Respect it. I respect it. Um, in my mind, I think
because that would
Atlanta's.
be my average Joe mindset.
In my mind, I think Atlanta is much improved. I definitely said that last week, talking about their offense. They definitely look better under Mike Penix Jr. Um, but I really just think that I think JJ is going to continue to build up chemistry with Justin Jefferson. I think it may be a little intimidating for somebody to be a rookie quarterback, even though he's not a rookie technically. But this is his first season playing. But to be throwing to somebody like Justin Jefferson, who is the best wide receiver in the league, or up there, um, and I think there might be a little bit of jitters week one playing against a division rival. This is going to be their home debut, and I think that will help out JJ a little more than what he had. And I think he's going to get a lot of confidence winning week one in the way that he did by throwing a pick six and then coming back to score with his legs and score with Justin Jefferson. So yeah, going with the Vikings in this one.
Cool. All
Um,
right.
yeah, we can move on to Tampa Bay traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. The Texans are favored by 2.5 points here at home. This is a Monday night, one of the double headers on Monday night. I'm taking the Bucks here. Pretty obvious. I think the pass rush is going to get home for Tampa Bay. They were able to get after Michael Penix Jr. And I think they'll be able to get home against the terrible, terrible Houston offensive line. Uh, Offensively, I don't know if they're going to get Tristan Wirfs back this week. I know both he and Chris Godwin avoided the IR, and I'm not 100% sure on their status. But I think if they're able to win against a division rival on the road, I think they'll be able to win against Houston. Um, they're traveling a little bit, traveling over to Texas, traveling over the Gulf of America. But really just think that we got a high-powered offense here, and the Rams were able to shut down the offense of the Texans. I mean, freaking Jaden Higgins had 32 receiving yards. He led the team in receiving yards with 32. Nico Collins had 30. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of Tampa's defense. I'm a big fan of their offense, and I don't think Houston is going to be able to cover everybody that's on the field for him. I think Bucky Irving's going to have a good game. Um, all respect to Will Anderson and the guys on the Texans defense, but I just think there's too many playmakers on Tampa Bay's offense, including Baker Mayfield, who is my sneaky dark horse MVP candidate this year. So yeah, just going with Tampa Bay to cover this 2.5 points and win outright.
Okay. Yeah. So I am actually on the other side of that. I'm on Houston plus 2.5. I don't feel great about it, but just yeah. With Houston being at home, I'm on a lot of home teams this week. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Um, I don't know. I don't really have a good reason for this. I think you have two good quality teams. I do want to take Tampa 2.5. Feels like again, it feels like free money. But Houston, really good defense, really good quarterback, horrible offensive line, 5 traffic cones. I do think they might improve throughout the season, though. That's kind of like the saving grace there. Houston, in spite of that non-existent offensive line of traffic cones, they did play the Rams super close on the road. and the Rams are a really, really solid team. Uh, so this is another situation where I'm just going to fade what seems like the obvious pick here, and just assume that Vegas knows what they're doing, and this will be a much closer game than people think it will, and I'm going to take the Houston Texans and the points. I like them being at home.
Yeah, that is this their home debut. We can move on to
Yeah.
the Chargers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. This is in Vegas. Obviously, we got the Chargers traveling back from Brazil. Chargers favored 3.5 points. I'm taking them, taking the Chargers to cover this. I think they look like perennial contenders in the AFC. I think this may be the start of their breakout as a really good team. And I I was watching the highlights of that Raiders and um, Patriots game from Week 1, and I was impressed with Geno Smith. I thought he can still throw it, but I'm just gonna go with the more talented quarterback, and that is Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is, what if, man, but he's top five if his offensive line can play well. So I'm going with Justin Herbert, John Harbaugh, and I think Amari Hampton is going to have a better game than he had Week 1.
Yeah, not a lot to argue with there. This one was behind the Falcons Vikings pick. This was like I think the second hardest pick of the week to make. Um, I don't know. I don't know what to make of this game, so I'm going to go with the Raiders plus 3.5 at home. Even though the Chargers beat the Chiefs in Week 1, I'm not sure. I think the Raiders might actually be pretty decent. Kind of seems like their win over the Patriots on the road kind of flew under the radar, but the Raiders were in control of that game for most of the game, and I just think people may be underestimating kind of just the level of competence that Pete Carroll brings to the Raiders. Um, it's hard to adjust to that really, in 2 weeks after basically 2 decades of the Raiders being a complete joke of a franchise. Um, so with the Raiders not being a clown show anymore, I think they will keep it close. Maybe the Chargers have a bit of a emotional letdown after beating the Chiefs. It's a big deal for the Chargers to beat the Chiefs. Um, it rarely
Absolutely.
happens. It's like standing up to your bully after getting swirlies for years and getting pantsed
After
and
getting Mike
wedgies
McDanieled.
for what's that?
I said after getting Mike McDanieled for years.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. Mike Vrabel is definitely going to give McDaniel a wedgie on Sunday.
Swirly.
But yeah, I think that maybe there could be some bit of a layover from the Chargers going to Brazil. Coming back from Brazil. I mean, it is I think it's I think it's a 5 hour time uh a, a 5 hour time difference from LA.
Uh,
It's or hold on, Sao Paulo time. Yeah, it's 11:54 p.m. for so
it's 1 hour ahead
they're
of Eastern time.
okay. So it's 4 hours. It's a four
Yeah.
hour time difference coming back from Brazil. I don't know if there's maybe any jet lag or just kind of some after effects of the long road trip there. Um, yeah, I mean I know Brazil is not like it's not like going to like China or anything, but um, it's a decent. I mean, it's about 6,000 miles away. So from Los Angeles. So yeah, it's I don't know. I'm taking the Raiders here. I think there might be a bit of a letdown uh for the Chargers, and I think the Raiders people may still just kind of be underestimating how much better the Raiders are just in terms of they're not a disaster anymore. They're not a bottom five team in the league. Pete Carroll is just too good of a coach for them to just be like, a complete joke.
Very true. I just really, I mean, I just think the Chargers are going to be very good this year, and that's pretty much my rationale behind picking them. Um, I really just
Joe, do you
think
think the Chargers? Do you think the Chargers are really good this year, or do you think the Chiefs are washed,
I
or
think
both?
both. I think both. I think the Chargers are really good and the Chiefs are washed. I think if the Chiefs were washed and the Chargers were mid, the Chiefs would still beat them. Because if we look like in the Harbaugh era of the Chargers, they've pretty much played the Chiefs super close and have basically lost because of shady, fishy penalties pretty much since Harbaugh's gotten there. Um, and this is obviously their
Hmm.
first win. Um, but I really think that if the Chiefs had a little bit of that magic left, if they weren't completely dusted, they probably would still beat the Chargers just because they have that sort of. I don't like doing this comparison with a Bears fan, but the whole Aaron Rodgers, with the Bears sort of thing situation going on
Oh
with
yeah,
him.
he owns us.
Not anymore. He's been banished to Pittsburgh, banished to the hinterlands of Pittsburgh. Um, but yeah, I really just think that the Chargers are good and the Chiefs are washed, and that's factored into my picks for those respective games. And yeah, other than that, I don't really have much to say about the Chargers, other than really like Omari and Hampton, even though he didn't pop off the box score last week.
Yeah, he'll come around.
Yeah,
He's a rookie. It was his first game, and
he was
The Chiefs had the best. They had the best run defense in the league last year.
yeah. We didn't
Or
did you see
no,
George
not the best.
Karlaftis and Chris Jones arguing during that game on last Friday?
Yeah, I saw it. Was it? Didn't they get into it last year too?
Yeah. Signs of bad
W-
coaching,
w-
signs of fall off.
Wasn't that? Was it during the Super Bowl?
I
I
don't
swear that
I
was
don't doubt
not.
it.
Unless I'm just getting. Unless I'm just getting like deja vu. I don't think that was That's not the first time that Karloftis and Chris Jones have like gotten into it.
Yeah. Anyways, that is going to be it for the video, guys. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.